For some analysis now on the situation in the Ekurhuleni conference, we're joined by a veteran ANC member, Omery Makgoale. Dr. Omery, good evening and thank you very much for your time. The focus of all these conferences seems to be factional divide. In fact, the words used by the Premier of Gauteng described the conference as a war zone. He says there are security littered all over the precinct outside of this conference. And it's all because they're just divisions, not in just this region, but I suppose in every region that these conferences are being held so far, we have seen. Is this something that the ANC is awakened to, concerned about, and you think they are in any way willing to address?
Look, I think at the moment the ANC is not in a position to address this, because most of the ANC leadership are actually part of the factions, and they're all, of course, fighting for access to the treasury, to the resources. It's all about that, and this is why the killings, people are killing each other for this, and this is why others are kept out of conferences, what we call gatekeeping. And this is why these 5 branches have not yet been voted, and other branches in Ekurhuleni did not actually send delegates, because of this gatekeeping. But basically, we are in a situation where the ANC leadership at the moment is paralyzed, and it's, gripped in this factional fight, and it's all for access to state resources. It's got nothing to do with the interest of the people to serve them. They've got nothing to do with the interest of the people. When you look at Ekurhuleni, for instance, when you go to the railway stations, whether it's Boksburg or other railway stations, they are vandalized, destroyed in front of this ANC leadership that Masina and Kabasa are part of. They are part of the same leadership. So whoever wins is not going to change anything in Ekurhuleni, in our mind. So things are going to remain as they are. Whoever wins, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Because the ANC at the moment is paralyzed.
Mzwandile Masina seeking a 3rd term. And what that in itself say about the type of fighting for resources that is going on, or even him wanting to retain that position even for a 3rd term and not allowing fresh leadership to come on? What does it say about him as a leader, but also what does it say about that formation and how it operates?
I think we emphasize this issue that until we change how we elect leaders inside the ANC, we cannot clean it. Remember that it is 2% of ANC members in Ekurhuleni that actually went to that conference. 2%. 98% of members in Ekurhuleni are not participating in that conference. They are at home. I'm one of them. We are not participating in that conference. We are at home. So basically, that conference represents minority, and if you consider that ANC historically was fighting for majority rule, this is actually the opposite of what the ANC is fighting for. The ANC is fighting for majority rule, but now it's ruled by minority rule. It's ruled by 2% of its members. And we are saying that until we change these internal electoral laws to introduce one ANC member, one vote, one person, one vote for electing leaders, we will not clean the ANC. The ANC will continue to die. At the moment, it's gradually dying. It can only get worse. Nothing will improve with this new leadership.
Yeah. The preoccupation with leadership roles, you're saying, would have a direct impact on the electoral outcomes of the ANC, even in Gauteng, maybe even in the next coming local government elections?
Yes, definitely. It's going to have an impact, because you see, when the society, the people of Ekurhuleni, the people of Soweto, the people of Gauteng continue to see this corruption, continue to see their infrastructure being vandalized in front of their eyes, the railway infrastructure being vandalized, the cables being stolen left, right, and center, and no consequences. But the people get tired of this. The people of Gauteng get tired of this. And this is why they will not continue to vote for crooks they know, to vote for crooks they see. People must be aware that you cannot fool people all the time. Nobody will continue to vote for a crook that he is aware of. So this is one thing that the ANC needs to be aware of. But under the current branch delegate conference method, it's not in a position to save itself. It's a system failure. It's a system failure. We have to change the systems inside the ANC to save the ANC. Otherwise, it's gradually going to lose all the votes.
Yeah. Is the ANC as a body still in control? I mean, we saw them sending PEC members to try and quell the tensions, to bring some kind of order. But people still feel they're entitled to position, and still people were contesting furiously for leadership roles. Is the ANC, in other words, is the center holding?
Look, at the moment, I would say that it's struggling to hold. It doesn't really hold, because most of the time it's defied. The center is defied, wrong things continue, and there's no reprimand. Because most of the leaders from Luthuli House, are actually compromised. Then, they remember that these leaders at Luthuli House, they actually watched when the Guptas and the Watson captured the ANC in front of their eyes. They were in leadership position, and they did not do anything. So basically, they are compromised, and this is why they can't handle, they can't discipline the structures as we go down. There's defiance throughout ANC structure. And that's why people continue to do wrong things. And that's why people who are compromised, who've got murder cases, who've got theft cases, continue to contest election and stand for election and continue to be elected, because the delegates are bribed. The delegates are bribed. So the ANC at the moment is declining. And until we change this internal electoral law of ANC to say one person, one vote for election leaders, we will not save the ANC. We will not save the ANC from losing election.
You mentioned Dr. Xhakaza, and you mentioned the former mayor, Mzwandile Masina. You're saying they've been part of the same administration. Well, they went head-to-head now as far as the chairmanship is concerned. But, of course, in this late politics, winner takes it all. Do you think this will have an impact on their relationship, but also the losing faction in terms of continued work within the city? They're no longer at the helm of administration, but certainly in terms of the unity of that caucus.
Look, they will be partially hostile to each other, because each one wants to be in that office to hold the resources for themselves and so on. So they won't be friends per se, but they will, the provincial Gauteng will go to them and say, comrades, work together, compromise for the sake of ANC. But that doesn't really work, because it's all about looting. People want to steal. And when people want to steal, everybody wants to steal for himself and for his family and friends. So it's not really going to have this artificial unity, of people who are looting the state. So it's not really sustainable in the long term.
ANC Veteran Omery Makgoale, appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on tonight.